What up, virtual people? Welcome to episode 69 of VCR Redux, where we take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2022. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most, film professor Ian Klink.
Hello.
So enthused to be here. And we have two radical guests on the show tonight. First up, of course, our own honorary third host from Rick Barth and the Line. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. Mickey Torres is on the show.
Mickey!
What's up, everyone?
And rounding out this righteous crew, coming to us all the way from the West Coast, host of the soon-to-launch Still Fabulous podcast, Bobby Masters on the show.
Yeah.
I love that shirt. I love
Thank
that
you.
shirt. That is everything.
Thank
Your
you.
shirt, your shirt, Mickey, is okay.
It's
Chris,
no Dawkins shirt, but it'll do.
Chris, I'm not
Guys,
even going to talk to you about your shirt.
Today is a very special VIP edition of VCR Redux.
No, it's not. This is the stupidest day ever. This is the worst episode we are ever going to do. I hate this movie. I hate being here. I hate all of this. I want to leave now, but I can't.
You can go watch The English Patient. Go watch The English Patient.
I would rather, listen, there are 1,000 things I'd rather do than talk about Showgirls. I would rather mow the lawn. I'd rather wax my toes. I would rather watch somebody else wax their toes. I would rather, in all fairness, I would rather go to Las Vegas, spend $100 on roulette, get all that money taken away, get slapped in the face, be given another $5 so I can go back to that table and get slapped again in the face, then watch this stupid movie.
Well, you're not playing roulette in Vegas for $5.
Anyway,
See, you go to the Strip, I go to like 5th and 4th Street. Like that's where you go, sir.
okay. So, to mark the occasion for this momentous, amazing day, if you guys couldn't tell yet, we're here today to wear some Versace, to munch on some doggy chow, and to thrust like spasticated dolphins in a champagne waterfall. Because what this world needs is Showgirls 3.
No, it
G-strings
doesn't.
attached.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
does
does.
not
It needs
need
it.
this. The what?
We need it.
Ask for this. Nobody's asking for this.
Well, a better
We got a
part
four
two.
on this panel,
A better
need it.
part two, at least.
No.
Before we can take this show to different places, we need to talk about how Showgirls came into our lives and what we love about it. And for everyone watching the live chat, that means you too. How did you discover Showgirls? We talking VHS, Laserdisc, cable, theaters? Hit us up in the live chat and let us know. So, Bobby, tell us about the first time you watched the masterpiece that is Showgirls.
Well, let me tell you in great detail how that happened. Growing up watching Saved by the Bell, I was like, let me explore Elizabeth Berkley's further career. At 12 years old, I went to Borders Books and Music and bought the only copy of Showgirls I found, which was the VIP edition, which was a giant box that had the DVD, a deck of playing cards, 2 shot glasses, and a poster of Elizabeth Berkley, and 2 pasties with instructions for the game. Pin the pasties on the showgirl.
And you were 12 when you bought this?
I was 12 years old when I purchased this.
That is a
With
guy
my own
who was
money.
about to, listen, that guy at the counter was about to get fired. He took a fart on the manager's desk the day before and knew he was going to get fired. And he's like, whatever, scan.
Was it the
They-
R-rated
they
version
took my
or was it the
mom, like, and-
NC-17 version, Bobby?
It was the NC. It was the what was considered the bonus edition in 2005.
Okay.
Or 2000, like earlier than that, 2003.
Amazing. So you put in this masterpiece of a film, and clearly you're just fall in love at first sight because it's perfect film.
Oh, it was just like a cult classic immediately. Like it was so camp.
Ian is in hell right now. We'll get to your first time suffering through this soon enough, Ian. Mickey.
I also
I'm suffering now. Like it's not the first time. I'm suffering every day with this stupid.
What were you gonna say, Bobby?
I said, also, I recently found out from a schoolmate of mine from middle school that I brought this movie on an overnight field trip to Washington, D.C. for all of us 8th grade boys to watch in our hotel room.
Oh my God.
First off, why
rules.
does every school in 8th grade go to Washington, D.C.?
That's the thing.
That's what I want to know.
Educational.
We couldn't do that. Man. We couldn't do that in the Midwest. So I went in 7th grade. Instead, I went to Springfield, Illinois, so we could see the state capitol. It's like, you know,
I went to DC in 8th grade. I was in Iowa. You didn't go?
Well, you're fucking like one state close. Oh no, you're one state further.
Yeah, well, like we did that.
Rub that in my face. I didn't get to DC until I was like fucking in my 30s. But at any rate,
sorry.
Even though Ian would rather talk about DC field trips, Mickey, first time watching Showgirls. What are the deets?
In the theaters.
I hate you.
If there's
Mickey.
ever a movie to see on the big screen.
What is the matter with you? You're like Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver, about to take a weird date onto this movie.
Didn't you?
Christmas.
Yo, I would love it if I went on a date to Showgirls. Shut up.
Me too.
It was my then girlfriend at the time. The two of us watched it, you know.
Oh.
Then how did you keep track? You got 7.
How did you lose this girl? What had happened there? She's obviously a hell of a.
He took her to Showgirls. That's when she broke up with him. That's what it
the
is.
The movie was better than the relationship. So let's just
I've suffered a lot of those movie dates where like, fuck, this movie is gonna be with me for the rest of my life, but not you.
No, I had to see this movie. I remember the trailers. I remember this thing coming out. Like I knew, I'm like, you mean to tell me I'm gonna get to see Jesse Spano naked? I'm like, sign me the fuck up. I'm like, when and where? I think this was like before you couldn't get the pre-sale tickets or whatever like that. But I was first in line to get these tickets whenever it opened up. I'm like, get my seat.
You're sitting there like you're literally scanning the room to find the perfect chair, like testing every seat, listening.
And walking out, what's your gut reaction to this movie? 1995, Mickey walking out of the theater with his girlfriend. What's the consensus?
Well, the first thing is like you're a little hot and bothered, so now you're sitting there going like, we got to get home. The second thing is I'm just sitting there going like Gina Gershon and freaking Elizabeth Berkley. That's the world. And this was actually like the first, like I remember Gina Gershon from like smaller parts here and there, but this was like this was started my Gina Gershon like
very underrated
crush. Incredibly underrated. I'm gonna piggyback on that because Gina Gershon, for the most part, like only does fucking incredible movies. Or like when you work with Gina Gershon, that's that person or that thing's like best movie usually. Fucking Tom Cruise and Cocktail. Tom Cruise is like fucking best 80s movie. I don't care what anyone says. Cocktail's a masterpiece.
What?
Well, not you know.
I can't stand this.
Not film.
Out of here.
Not film. Like Rain Man and Born on the 4th of July are better films. Cocktail's a better movie. Big difference. Also, Gina Gershon was in Gia.
I will accept
great
that answer.
Face Off.
Gia was awesome.
Gia
was awesome.
She was in the spectacular Face Off. She was in Bound with Jennifer Tilly. Like Gina Gershon
Bound.
is a fucking
Can we talk about
pick and rolls.
Can we scrap this pile of crap? Can we talk about Bound? Like, can we just do
will
that?
Definitely.
We'll
do Bound at some point.
Showgirls.
I've got my sequel, Bound 2, Homeward Bound. Bound 3, Rebound with Dennis Rodman. Bound 4 with Anthony Michael Hall, Out of Bounds. It's just the writes itself. It's fantastic.
Get out of here.
It's ready. It's all ready. So the time has come, Ian. We need to hear about.
Yes. I want to talk about this. I refuse.
Exercise. This is therapy.
Before he goes,
you watched this movie for the wrong reasons. Clearly,
he picked up this movie at the pizza gas station
at a house of ill repute.
Decided, you know, he didn't know what to expect. He was like, "Oh, Jesse Spano. It's probably gonna be cute, this and that." Who pops this movie on? Mom's in the room and automatically horrified. That's why he doesn't like the movie.
Yeah.
He's traumatized.
He comes from religious stock, which we love and respect. Mama Klink. and Daddy Klink, Papa Klink, but he probably got caught watching this movie for the wrong reasons, and now he's ashamed and has to call it trash.
No. Listen, I knew what Showgirls was. I was well aware of the it was infamous. It's not just famous, it's infamous. Anybody?
Yeah.
Three Amigos? Nobody?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I got that, but like,
No. Screw you, Vicky. Bobby, you're too young. Chris, I'm disappointed. Anyway,
I just was not expecting that. Was so out of left field. My bad.
Whatever. The point is, I knew about Showgirls. We all knew about Showgirls. We all knew about Jessie Spano showing the world everything that she got. Zach Morris, we all knew. Okay. Anyway, the point is, this was on pay-per-view. All right. Now,
pay-per-viewed this.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Thank you. Here's what used to happen, right? At maybe 2:30 in the morning, if you were on the pay-per-view channel, I don't know why this would happen, but every once in a while, it would cut into the movie. Did I the only one to experience this?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know about this.
I don't know why it did that though. I don't know why it would do that. And Showgirls came on.
Wow.
Right now, listen. I'm just gonna be truthful. We all know the movie, right? I pop on Showgirls at 2:30 in the morning. It's the pool scene, right?
Oh wow, what an intro!
Jessie Spano getting some chlorine burns happening. All right, that's what we saw, and I'm like, what is this? What is happening? It was the director's cut, so it's not just a little bit of a pool scene. It's 12 hours of a pool scene. And I'm just like, this is like, I knew inside this is wrong. Right? I knew something is not right in this universe because of this pile of crap that I'm watching. Now, here's the problem. I will say this. Go ahead, Bobby.
Can we just take a second to appreciate Elizabeth Berkley's upper body strength?
Oh, that is some serious torso. That is like, I think that's abs, right? That's got to be abs too.
Like, she is just flailing back and forth like Reagan from The Exorcist. Twice.
Yep.
Clearly the Academy overlooked her work on this.
Now, here's the problem. Years later,
it was very physical work.
But like years later, I decided to give it another chance, right? Because when you're, I was
traumatized by this, and you're
like, what the hell is this movie? Right. But like, as I got older, and here's why I don't like the movie. All right, here's why. I think this could have been an Academy Award worthy film. I think Joe Esterhaus wrote something that I believe was supposed to be a very serious, a very Oscar-winning performance for an actress. I think this could be done so much better, right? And it just failed, in my opinion, on every level. And I think that's why I don't like Showgirls. It's a movie that knew it could be better than what it settled for, and it just took a wet fart and said, we're Showgirls. That's why I don't like it.
That is a very fair criticism to make. A lot of times these scenes are on the cusp of being like not just great, but like they could have been classic scenes, And
I've read the script. I will tell you, I've read the script by Joe Esterhaus. That's a great script.
I think it's a solid base, honestly, and I like Joe Esterhaus, but I think someone else maybe could have come in to honestly get it up to that Academy Award level. I watched this wonderful documentary last night. I just got to say, it's called You Don't Know Me, and you can get it on like the German 4K import of Showgirls, but I just paid $10 to watch it on Amazon because I've been following this doc for a while, and I'm like, I finally need to watch it, right?
What version of Showgirls do you have that's in German? Please send like that. I have to see.
Well, it's talking about the region-free import. It's the only 4K version you can get, I think. But it's problematic from what I read of the transfer, at any rate. I love this film. I love the cinematography, love everything about it. So I want the highest quality possible. But this documentary is
Und Scheiße
fantastic.
der Gaschen und Durchschwanien. Ooh. Like, why, Chris? Why?
I did a deep dive on this film last night, and but this documentary is fantastic, and it breaks down a lot of those details. Like they reference the doggy chow scene, right? I used to have doggy chow, and they're like, this is an incredible scene, and I'm waiting for there to be subtext, waiting for the like reveal of what the subtext is, and then all of a sudden you realize there is no subtext to this scene. But it is like watching the movie again last night after watching this documentary, I can appreciate the layers and levels that are there. I don't think it failed in every way, Ian, in what you're saying, but I think it like
did it though.
It missed where it missed on some. It didn't fail to connect for some way, you know, for a multitude of you know, kind of obvious and not so obvious reasons, I think.
Well, I think that what hurt this movie, I mean, in the theaters at least, is the NC-17 obviously was one thing, but then the second part of it was
they aimed for that.
Yeah, but it got such bad reviews unfairly. Like, you know, it was just literally like, you know, people, I guess, went.
It was like the Howard the Duck of the '90s. It was the like, we're all gonna shit on this together.
But the
this is the film.
And I feel like it was not like legit reviews. I don't.
It could have honestly, like, I feel like it could have been the Oscar movie Ian was talking about, and it still would have gotten shit on because people were too Puritan. They were too like.
I think it was Elizabeth Berkley. It's not her fault. I will never blame her for this movie. She did what she needed to do. And she did an okay job for Elizabeth Berkley in that role. The problem is that role should not have been Elizabeth Berkley. You really needed an actress who had, at that time, the training and the deep, deep skills of acting to really pull off that role. And I just don't think she was the right choice. I get why
she was a dancer,
but I get why they chose her. And I'll be honest. In my opinion, it was to get a little bit of the controversy from Saved by the Bell.
I mean, I think that was part of it. They obviously knew that would happen. They're not idiots making this movie.
It would draw attention.
But exactly. I do think, I think, you know, it's a little unfair to say that she wasn't a trained actress or wasn't this or that. Verhoeven has owned up to this, that he directed her to do all this over the top shit. Like she didn't like come out of the gate and be like, yeah, I want to play everything at like 11.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Like, no, I directed her to do that. I told her to do that. It's not her fault. You know, it's like blaming the kid from Phantom Menace. Like, well, George Lucas is a fucking 50-some-odd-year-old man directing him. Like, it's, you know, it's on that guy. Any rate, I'll get to my first time watching this movie briefly. In a sec. I do want to acknowledge everyone in the live chat, though. Of course,
you didn't watch the movie briefly. You watched this over and over again. No.
I'm going to talk briefly about my first time watching it.
Yeah.
Any rate, I see Jeremy Ledford in the chat of Nerdcore. It says, awesome shirt, Chris, and I watched on HBO. Thank you, my man. Always good to see you in there. Angie Saunders in the live chat as well. Says it was VHS, like always. A great way to, I mean, there's no wrong way to discover Showgirls, but I feel like video and cable are like maybe the way for my generation. I'm super jealous that Mickey saw it in theaters. Jerry Lahane said
Mickey got slapped in the theater is what happened.
Jerry Lahane says it made me feel gay for loving it. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but more power to you. Jay Tragedy saw it when
probably
I was
because the Showgirls, like the elements of the
I appreciated Showgirls for so many different reasons than a batch of straight men, I gotta say.
Jay Tragedy in the chat, name I haven't seen before. I saw it when I was 8, went to Blockbuster with my cousin working there and ordered pizza. What a perfect summer day. Jerry Lahane also, okay, love the over the top for that subject and cocktail, some love in there, some love for Gina Gershon. Okay, so I was aware of this movie when it was coming out. and I don't think I got to rent it or watch it on VHS because it was like one of those like color of night. You know, you have to understand, folks, in the 90s, it was the time of the erotic thriller, all right? And the reason for
The
that is
90s
because
were. The
Esther
90s
Haas,
were. That is true. That is true.
Esther Haas
Yeah,
and
so-
Verhoeven made Basic Instinct, and for whatever reason, Basic Instinct made a fucking cajillion dollars.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, at erotic thriller time, let's go with Disclosure. Let's go with, you know,
love
later you would get
Disclosure.
Striptease,
Disclosure's
of course, and
Striptease,
Boogie
yep.
Nights as well. I mean, you don't get to Boogie Nights without Showgirls.
Oh,
First of all,
no.
Boxing
that's,
Helena too. That's an erotic thriller.
yeah, Boxing Helena. Yeah, what's her name? Did a
Oh,
lot of
Boxing
those fucking-
Helena? Oh, Bobby, you just scored some major points. Boxing Helena is a wild film.
We
Yeah,
need to
I'm-
talk about Boxing Helena
We need to
next.
do a watch party of that, but that's for another
Whew.
day.
That's a movie that jacks you up.
So,
Yo,
folks, there were a
it-
lot
it
of
was-
these, and
Does
most
it?
of them,
Crazy. It's crazy.
Does
there
it
were a
jack
lot
you
of
up,
these
Ian?
movies, and most of them
It
starred Michael
jacks
Douglas.
you
You know?
up.
I thought about it for days after watching it. That's the kind of movie that it is.
So,
It's a wild one.
flash forward to 10-year-old me. I get dragged to Wisconsin, or 11-year-old me, whatever I was, maybe 12.
Dragged to Wisconsin.
I get dragged to the state of Wisconsin. No disrespect to my Wisconsin friends, but this wasn't like Madison or Milwaukee or like anywhere like really cool. This was like middle of nowheresville. And the only redeeming factor was that there was satellite TV. So I would, you know, basically stay inside and watch TV all day and stay up all night and watch TV all night. And I loved it. And Showgirls was on, and I was like, oh my God, I am gonna fucking watch this movie. And of course, like 10-year-old me, 11-year-old me was like amazed every time there were boobs. But like it honestly became like almost like that cocaine effect where like I mean, not to say anything, but it's something I've heard very often about cocaine, that like when you do it the first time, you get so high and you'll never get that high again, and you're always chasing that high. And I think there's like something like that happens with Showgirls. There's like so much nudity for 10-year-old me that like by the time I'm half an hour in the movie, it's like, all right, it's normal now. Like, okay, and I'm really following the story. It's like that Jack Horner Boogie Nights dream. Like I want that movie where they're just so captivated. They can't watch. They can't, you know, turn the movie off. They can't leave. And you know, this was that fucking movie. I was just obsessed with this story for whatever reason. And I wasn't even like that big of a Saved by the Bell fan at that point. That sort of like appreciation would come later. So I think a lot of that was lost on me. But I very much thought it was a good movie, and I still think that to this day. It's just weird as fuck.
It is
And
definitely weird.
Verhoeven made some really strange choices, and I think that was very unfair to Elizabeth Berkley. Like if he would have allowed her performance to be a little bit more restrained, as I'm sure she would have liked, then I think the movie could have been taken a little bit more seriously. But then it becomes this Howard the Duck thing where it's really easy to point at her and go, she's ridiculous. What's this hand stuff? You know, this is insane. This sex scene, you know, blah, blah, blah. This is not sexy at all. It's not supposed to be sexy. It's, you know, it's
not supposed to be. It's Showgirls.
no, it's no. I'm just saying the sex scene in itself is not supposed to be sexy. It's supposed to be like almost mocking. You know, a lot in this movie, there's a lot of things that the movie mocks that people didn't get because it does it in this strange way, like her saying Versace and stuff like that, you know. So you just remember like, oh yeah, Versace, you know, you don't really think about I don't know. I just, not to ramble too much, but watching this documentary last night gave me a whole new appreciation for the layers and levels in this film. Like there's a whole theme of like mirrors and reflections going on in this movie. I know that sounds kind of dumb, but in addition to most of the movie being shot through mirrors, characters talking to each other through mirrors, there's also every scene in the movie is a mirror reflection of a different scene in the movie. It opens up, she gets in the fucking mullet pompadour guy's truck and he rips her off. The movie ends with her getting in that same guy's fucking truck, pulling out the knife again, and he's also swerving through traffic again, you know? The central
have you ever gone to a restaurant? Okay, have you ever had that like midnight snack where you go to the restaurant and you want this specific food and you get that food, but for some odd reason it's off, right? Like it just doesn't taste right.
Sure.
That's what Showgirls was for me.
That doesn't just happen at midnight. That happens all times of the day.
I agree, but it's like the ingredients for the cake were there that I think that could have been a really
They just didn't
good
make it right.
treat. And that's what I'm saying. I
Okay,
don't.
Ian, you're entitled to your wrong opinion. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
But what I would
Take
say
him,
that,
Bobby.
but I will also say this though. That's to me. However, there's that whole theory, right? Of like, for instance, would Night of the Living Dead be so famous had it not fallen into public domain and it was shown everywhere, right? Would it just be this forgotten horror movie in the corner? Would Showgirls, in the same sense, would Showgirls be Showgirls if it hadn't been such a crazy, chaotic, overacted, Verhoeven doing these things? It's like the movie became cult because of how it was made. And if they had baked the cake right, would it have been the best? And it's like, I can respect Showgirls,
but there's merit in that. That's what I'm saying. A lot of merit in that.
I can actually respect Showgirls. I can not the movie, but its legacy. I respect Showgirls' legacy for what it's happened over the years. That little movie held on, and I think it's because of its weirdness, because of its stupidity, because he directed Elizabeth Berkley terribly. Like I do think that's what makes this movie last. I think you should all stop watching it. I think it's a pile of turd that could be left in the corner, but that's,
No.
But I respect it. I'll shake its hand. I just don't want to go out to dinner with it. Like
because you're scared of it.
No, I just don't like it. It's like you see that person in the subway and you're like, I just know I won't like you. Like you just know that.
I understand what you're saying. I would never apply it to this film, but I definitely get what you're saying.
I concur.
I think your analogies are like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
The movie has aged like in a lot of ways has aged like wine, and it is one of those movies like.
Well, yeah, Boone's Farm ages. Like, I mean,
like, okay, I mean, you were talking about the script, and you were talking about how it could have been directed that same script to be a better movie, and I don't think it is. I don't think that's possible. If someone asks you where are you from, different places.
Take Scorsese. If Scorsese had Showgirls, and I know it's easy to go to Scorsese, I get that. It's totally cliche, but if Scorsese had done it, if Paul Thomas Anderson had done Showgirls,
he did. It was called Boogie Nights.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a version of that script where it was taken seriously, and I think Joe Esterhaus wrote it to be a little bit more serious. I think Verhoeven.
But you can appreciate it for what it is. I feel like that's the joy of this movie, or that's the
well, that's what I guess that's what I'm saying. I can appreciate it for what it is.
Like when I first originally watched it, obviously, like I said, I watched it in the theaters, and I went in just really just to go see Elizabeth Berkley naked. I'm like, I just want to see this, but I left thinking like
a man of pure art, ladies.
Yeah, exactly. Look, sometimes I like stupid and I like it often, but in any event, it was just like it's really just one of those things where I watched it, and afterwards it just left me like it did leave me disturbed. It left me disturbed.
It should.
And it just made me think about it. It just made me, and that's why like this movie could not. It stuck with me, and then that's why I rewatch it. Is like I kind of rewatch it, thinking like every time I rewatch it, I'm going deeper into this story, and I'm like, well, what about this and what about that?
The whole movie.
I agree with you there, and also like since I watched it as a 6th grader and watching it now, like it is such a vastly different film than it was to me in middle school. As an adult, I see it and I see how really messed up a lot of the things that are happening really are.
Yeah,
there's a lot of powerful social commentary and sexual social commentary.
95, right? 95 just came out, right? I was like 18, 18, 18, 19.
There's a lot. The whole movie again is a series of reflections and distortions and like veneers, and Crystal is a reflection of Nomi. Nomi's a reflection of Crystal. Nomi's also a reflection of the other dancer. that throws the beads on the floor that, gets the other, girl fucking injured and gets her out. And then she's the one that backs Nomi up when Nomi pushes Crystal. And Crystal says, how do you think I got this job? And it's
eventually,
and you know what's weird is that the central point of this movie is the doggy chow scene. And there's a weird thing when you're watching that scene. They took this documentary that it's framed like a typical dueling overs. Gina Gershon's on the left side of the frame, Elizabeth Berkley's on the right side of the frame. Then halfway through that scene, they switch it. And there hasn't been anything in the dialogue that like a big reveal or a big change or something to switch, that normally when you break that rule, it's for a very good reason. They just break that rule in the middle of that scene, and it's strange, but I think it's because that is the center point of the movie. And the ultimate reflection that matters to Nomi is that of her roommate. And when her roommate's like, you pushed her, she's hugging her, like begging her, please, it's not a party without you, please, 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 please. And then when Andrew Carver brutally assaults her roommate, and that is a powerful image. This woman collapsing on the floor of this fancy ass fucking party with blood running down her legs, and even though it cuts away really quickly, you get the vibe already from this movie that no one in that fucking party is gonna help her. Like as a 10-year-old, I understood that. Like, Jesus Christ, this is so fucked up. This is insane, and that's real. Like I think that would actually happen. And
I think probably
until watching it today to prepare for this. Like I saw when that happened, I didn't think about like, wow, like I'm like nobody helped her. Like they're still looking for the person who did it. And it's just like I was thinking like in a party full of people like this, it was just able to happen.
That was like, probably like the hardest scene for me. Like I don't really like to watch movies with any kind of rape in it. It disturbs me usually. So like that, that's one of the scenes that just kind of like I sit there and I didn't like it at first, and I still when I rewatch it, I'm kind of like I might fast forward it or whatever, or I might just be like, all right, whatever. I'll do something else when it's going on, and I know what's going to happen, so I don't need to watch it. It's not rewatchable to me. And so I mean, I felt the same way about The Accused. There's a lot of movies where I just don't.
That's a hard movie to watch.
And they reference The Accused in the documentary You Don't Know Me, because they're like, well, The Accused is a movie that spends 90 minutes like building up to earn this scene for it to have its impact or whatever, and Showgirls doesn't build up to earn that. And like I don't think that that's an accident. I don't think like Showgirls was insensitive in its portrayal of this scene. I think it's very real that these things can come out of absolutely fucking nowhere left field.
And these things happen in that kind of world. In that kind of world.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Absolutely.
I feel like
power and money and fame.
Especially in that type of world in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah.
That type of life in that time period. Oh, it was just sex and drugs and money, and that's all that it was. And nobody was getting caught because there was no devices to record them doing it.
The 90s were a weird time. Like it
really was. I mean, there was still like some of this leftover of the 80s of just like cocaine and money and sex and power and this and that. But then it's a very sobering moment in the film when all that happens and you realize like, fuck, this world is fucked.
Well, one of the hardest parts about selling Showgirls was the mid 90s, around 95. Was a huge family comedies were the thing. I mean,
and you couldn't advertise an NC-17 movie on TV.
You could, but this is like literally Dennis the Menace is in theaters, freaking Major Payne, like all these movies are in theaters, and then they bust out Showgirls in the middle of all that.
You had family, movies are great and everything else like that. But you have to cater to adults.
Oh, you did. Well. It's understandable why they did it, but it's interesting that was the timing. It's like, as we were saying earlier, it's like freaking Color of Night is coming out, and
another one, Color of
showing
Night.
All of Bruce Willis, and blown away with the best of the two Corey movies ever.
Blown Away is a great movie.
Oh, I love Blown Away.
Sliver was another one.
Sliver was, Sliver, it's like
the
there's just
90s
like
were packed with these movies, you know.
yeah, it was wild that this came out, and I do agree.
And
that-
honestly, like I'd rather watch this than Sliver or Disclosure or Color of Night, and I love Color of Night. Color of Night's
I do
great.
like Disclosure. I do
what
like
is
Disclosure a
wrong
lot.
with you? I swear your brain waves are like your shirt. I mean, for gosh sakes.
I'm not knocking Disclosure. I'm just saying
But-
Disclosure's a fine movie. It's okay. It's fine.
Of course
it's good,
it is.
you
It's
know, but
genius.
it's not Showgirls. Like Showgirls is this one of a kind diamond in the rough, sort of just strange.
Yeah,
crazy-
there's gum on the bottom of my shoe, and the form that it makes is the only kind out there ever. But I'm
Showgirls is
not
like
going
that
to
friend.
enjoy the gum.
Showgirls is like that friend that like doesn't live on planet Earth. You know what I mean? And you love them anyways. You know, they're not like you know, they're not here on Earth. With
It's
the rest
Ian.
Of us.
It's
Yeah.
Ian.
But like
That's why
Showgirls
so
is
much.
from
It's
Showgirls
similar-
is from parts unknown. It's from different places. You know what I mean? It's not.
I
from
will
the
tell you this.
same-
I do love the games that come with Showgirls, and like there are certain movies that have this cult status where you can actually make, like, they have the drinking game of Showgirls and they have stuff like that. Like, we did that in grad school. Like, you know, like that was like, you know, those games that you have with the Big Lebowski, you know, where, you know, you're supposed to take a shot every time they say the F word in Big Lebowski. Don't
Okay.
do that, by the way. You
I
will
would
literally
imagine.
go to the hospital. But you're supposed to do it every time. What was it in Showgirls? You're supposed, like,
Uh,
in their game, you're supposed to take a drink every time you, like, does anybody know the
I don't know Showgirls drinking games, but
Uh,
every time one of these happens,
wait, what is it, Bobby?
I know Pin the Pasties on the Showgirl.
Well, but
Well-
there's a drinking game associated with Showgirls. I know that. Like, you're supposed to take
well,
a drink.
there should have been Showgirls the video game, Showgirls the board
Oh.
game, Showgirls.
Oh,
like,
nothing
all kinds
nothing
of-
would be
yeah.
nothing would be better than a Sega Genesis 16-bit version of Showgirls. That would have been
Yes.
Paid big bucks for that, A.
yeah.
Sega CD.
Speaking of bad quality, did you guys ever watch Showgirls on VH1? And they would literally paint the topless women
Yes.
with
Yeah.
like Microsoft Paint.
Yep.
Really?
It was Microsoft Paint, and it would like, oh my god, it was so bad.
Wow, that's
Yippee
amazing.
ki
But
Mr. Falcon.
Before I forget, I must
Uh-huh.
mention
Okay.
that this movie also, like when I saw this in theaters, and I had no inclination, I did not know about this because this was a secret until you saw the movie. And if you're a Prince fan, you caught it right away.
Yeah.
It was an unreleased Prince song that like rip off Go to Zipper, his reggae version song when she's dancing in the room, showing the choreography, everything like that.
And
I
it's a dope
remember-
song too.
I remember when that song hit, and I was just like, as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, it's fucking Prince. And I had to get this song, but of course it was unreleased for many years until later on that he did finally release it in a vault album. And
Oh, man. I'll
but
get my
yeah,
hands on that.
Wait, no,
Um,
wait. I thought it was. Isn't that Annie Lennox?
Annie
No.
Lennox.
Have
Yes.
you seen Showgirls, Ian?
Yeah, but no, isn't she dancing to Little Bird by Annie Lennox?
No.
Well, there's a couple scenes.
that's striptease. That's striptease. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
motherfucker.
I,
dare you
all
disrespect-
right. Just,
Disrespect Las
first
Vegas'
off-
finest with
first-
that Florida trash.
first off, shut up. Secondly, knock it off. I apologize. All right.
Well, it's not a
All right.
VCR unless Ian gets something wrong,
That's
Well,
a
true, that's
name or
true.
something.
Well, we are
Shut
past
up,
the point.
shut up, Todd.
It is pitch time. And again, I do want to let everyone
Yeah,
in chat
pitch
know
the
we
movie
want-
off the Grand Canyon. Don't do anything else with this movie. Let it die the death that it has in this century. Bobby, stop
immortal.
looking at me like that. That is an
It's
angry
immortal.
look.
It will never
Okay,
die.
we
It's
got
like
Ian's
Cobra
take
Kai.
on the sequel. We got his take. All right, now it's our turn.
All right, now, again,
I am. I'm
Ian,
just gonna
you can
sit
play
back.
this game too.
I'm gonna sit
because
back
let's
with
just
this.
the way I like to think of this is let's play pretend. Some fucking studio comes at you with a briefcase full of money and says, you have to write me a script that's called Showgirls 3. And what do? You got to fucking keep the lights on. You got to feed yourself. You got to keep yourself in diamonds and furs. You're going to take the job and you're going to write Showgirls 3. So let's all put our pretend caps on. But before we dive into Showgirls 3, I'm guessing Bobby is the only person here that has actually seen Showgirls 2, Pennies from Heaven.
I fully have never seen it, and I never will.
Neither have I.
Bobby, am I correct? Or have you not seen it?
I actually have not seen Pennies from Heaven.
Wow, okay. Well, we have to acknowledge that it happened. You know, none of us have seen it apparently, but I don't think that matters because I'm sure most of us have seen the trailer, and my God, does that look rough.
I did see the trailer.
No disrespect to Penny herself, who also directed the movie. But they had a $30,000 budget, and it looks like they spent all that on the rights to the title. Because
that was
like it was
directed
shot
DVD.
on like a home video camera with no pro sound, and it's just oof. I can't believe so many people came back.
Is
for it.
Showgirls copyrighted?
Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
I was gonna say, does that have anything to do with it, or do they just take the title?
I think they had to
Penny
make
was
Penny was a character, so
Penny returns from the first one, you know, Pennies from Heaven, but and as does her, you know, boyfriend, fiance, dance partner, guy from Speed, who's amazing and then disappeared. Anyway, so what do you do? This
Henrietta, Queen of Bazooms. That's what I want.
John Waters directs, and I'm fucking there.
I would go there. I would watch that movie.
Boom. Spin-off number 1. Bobby, you got my money for fucking
I would actually
$10.
As a John Waters fan, I would actually watch that movie. That would get me in the I would go to the theater to see that.
And the review quote would be her just saying, "This movie looks better than a 10-inch dick and you know it."
Sold a million times.
Fucking great quote. Damn, that's good. I would watch a spinoff about Robert Davi's character, 100%. And just running the cheetah, like, you know, his viewpoint of the world is so strange. You know, like he hates Nomi, but he loves her. But it's not like he's almost like a father figure to her. You know, it's not like, you know, like the only reference, you know, I wouldn't hire you back, not even if you give me a fucking blowjob. Like, that's just a way to insult her out the door, you know? Like, oh, so
I would really want to know what Nomi is doing now. Like, basically, like, you know, like she got away with, you know, brutally beating a dude too. I mean, obviously,
I would have watched.
But did she? That's the thing.
That's the thing. We don't know.
Is she a wanted woman?
Yeah.
Here's a fun idea of a sequel for Nomi anyway. Like, it said she was going to Hollywood. Like, she gets there and like she starts doing good, but she's also wanted in the state of Nevada. And like, you know, like her face being out there, she's gonna succeed, like become a celebrity. Like, you know, like, oh, there she is. But she has another alias already, you know, because Nomi is not her real identity.
Correct.
You could be a courtroom drama. The trial of Nomi.
I would actually like the world to give Elizabeth Berkley another chance to like write this a little bit. And you know, it's interesting. There's that new series.
Well, they gave her First Wives Club.
The character's background is kind of similar to this one.
Well, the interesting thing that I think would be, you know, there's that new show coming out for American Gigolo, right? Where it's not a remake. It's literally almost a sequel off the end of that movie. Because I've always kind of felt that American Gigolos, we kind of don't have an ending to that movie. You know, it's just he goes to jail and it's like, well, movie over, go home. But now
kind of the way movies were back then.
It kind of was. I mean, but it's like now the story is like him trying to write what he was accused of, and it's like there'd be an interesting way of doing that with Showgirls, where it's. Now again, I'm gonna be flat out honest. That's not gonna be Showgirls. It's not gonna be, you know, you're not gonna get what we love, what you all love Showgirls for.
You almost said we love it, all of us.
And I corrected it. You heard it. But
he loves it. He just doesn't want to admit it on camera.
No, I said off camera how horrible. You all heard what I was saying off camera. Good Lord.
He's a family man.
It was still technically on camera.
A chef's kiss of a film is what he
Ian
said.
is too bona fide to get down in the mud with us and watch fucking Showgirls.
Now a scene like the Showgirls from Stripes, okay, we'll talk. But the
the mud scene, yeah.
The mud, but like I think it would be interesting to see that character today. You know, like
Well,
where she's at now. But like realistically, where would she be? What would her life be like? What would I mean, like, because again, she's going to be pushing 50. Is she still in the clubs? Is she, living that life? And that's got to be a very unique experience.
I think she's a choreographer.
I would love to see.
That'd be interesting.
I would actually love to see a movie that takes place like almost the Back to the Future 2, Halloween 2 style. Like we're picking up the instant this other one took off. And granted, you don't have Elizabeth Berkley anymore, so you can't do that. But I will say
getting out of the car.
If you have to recast, which you would, if you did Margot Robbie, people would go to see this movie. If you got Margot Robbie to step into the role of Nomi, and you can turn Nomi into this James Bond direct-to-video franchise where you can interchange the actress that plays Nomi, but the story is always canon. It always continues.
I'm kind of over.
I want to know,
Margot
first of
Robbie.
all,
I just threw up in my mouth by your suggestion.
Part of the glory of Showgirls is how 90s it is, right? That is part of what we love about it. And like to take it 90s. Out of the 90s, like I don't want to see Showgirls with smartphones. Like I don't want to see Showgirls with social media. Like I want to take this back to the delicious fucking tackiness of Las Vegas in the 90s, like that area, that place.
Yeah, I can see that.
Time. Like I think that's a big part of what this movie is about for me, and for a lot of people, it's ridiculous, but it's nostalgia.
Well, what if you had? It's not a remake, it's not a reimagine, but if a continuation in a bit, like I said, Nomi is in LA. We don't see her just right off the bat. There's a new girl that comes into Vegas, off the bus, fresh off the bus. It could be Margot Robbie. I don't want Margot Robbie, but it could be whoever.
You're right.
And she comes off the bus, whatever the case may be. Nomi's friend Molly dies, so she goes back to Vegas for the funeral, not knowing that she's wanted, A, but B, like, or maybe even she goes back. She's a successful choreographer. She goes back. Maybe Gina Gershon's there. Gina Gershon, Crystal's character is just like, you know what?
Another spinoff I'd watch. Just what happened to Crystal.
We're doing this. I
want to know what happened to all the characters.
Yeah. Crystal's not.
I could see Crystal running a brothel in Vegas, a legal brothel.
Maybe,
and that's a movie I would watch. Maybe
it's under the scheme, but maybe like Crystal's trying to do this new showgirl, show or whatever the case may be. She's not the same star she was before, so obviously it's in one of those cheap casinos or whatever the case may be.
Ooh, I'm there.
Elizabeth Berkley comes into town. She's a successful choreographer or whatever like that. Crystal, like, just okay, you know what? I need your help, this and that, whatever. Somehow they get to work together, whatever like that. And then there's this new girl and this whole thing happens and stuff like that. Maybe like somewhere along the lines. And then this comes, Crystal and Nomi aren't going to be like best friends. So obviously there's going to be a point where Crystal, feels like, fuck you, I'm going to fuck you over, or I'm going to, do something.
A fucking Cobra Kai like rivalry show
with
the two of them, like
that would be
strip clubs.
See, that would be interesting.
Tom McLaughlin, you can bring him back too.
Fuck yes. Oh, I'm so there. Oh, I'm so.
And at the very end, Robert Redford shows up and offers $1 million. No, I'm just joking.
Indecent Proposal, another fucking one, dude. There were so many of these like sleazy erotic thrillers, these like Adrian Lynn adjacent movies.
And Demi Moore seemed to do a lot of them.
She really did.
She really did. As did Michael Douglas. And that was basically the rule. Up until Boogie Nights, if your film starred Demi Moore or Michael Douglas, it made money. And if not, it didn't. Your erotic thriller. Like in the 80s, you could have done it with Mickey Rourke. But now in the 90s, you needed Michael Douglas or Demi Moore to make money. And this movie didn't have either one. I mean, imagine the switch on that, right? Imagine a world where Demi Moore was in Showgirls and Elizabeth Berkley was in Striptease, and you tell
that would have worked. That would have been far better. She had the comedy tools. It would have fit perfectly.
I mean,
and then Demi
they
Moore
would
would
have
have
let
had
her
the
do
serious.
her thing in striptease as opposed to Verhoeven cranking it up to 11.
But that's what I'm saying. But then again, I will go back to what I said earlier. Then maybe this would have been a forgotten movie.
Maybe.
That's the risk you're going to take if it wasn't Showgirls for what Showgirls was, it wouldn't have lived in infamy.
Be bold, go big. If you're gonna make mistakes, make them huge. That's like what Al Pacino says at Any Given Sunday. You're gonna make mistakes, make them big. I'm not gonna eat your lunch for that.
Yeah.
That's words to live by.
Or
But we do have a pitch. We do have a pitch in the live chat. Sean Gold of Gold's Code. His pitch is the entire Saved by the Bell crew comes in to help Jessie and operate her own club with a hilarious cameo from Mr. Belding. Take my fucking money, because that would be amazing.
Remember the honeymoon in Vegas episode or the wedding in Vegas?
Oh my God,
yes.
She just showed up at the end.
Yep.
I also was thinking while you were talking about like Gina Gershon's at the low rent casino, I was like, and Randy Quaid and fucking Chevy Chase are there gambling with money from buried coffee cans.
Mm-hmm.
Right, left, damn.
Vegas make it, yeah, exactly. Yeah, guess a number between 1 and 10. 5, no.
Damn.
Oh shit. Oh, so good. So what else? Again, I would see a spinoff of Robert Davi. I'd see a spinoff of Gina Gershon. I'd see a spinoff of Queen of Zooms. You could do all these characters fleshed out in a Netflix show. Just saying, the rival strip club thing between Gershon and because there's an amazing seduction going on between.
But how hard? But how? Okay,
Yeah.
here's the interesting thing though to think about though. Okay, would it matter nowadays? Like for instance, if this came out on streaming, right? Would it matter that it's NC? There's a lot of stuff that's NC-17.
No, I mean look at like Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac.
I don't think that's even a thing anymore, really.
Well, that's
what I'm saying. Fucking tame. This movie's fucking tame.
Now, there's just like,
dude, 50 Shades of Grey. Like, first of all, people are insane now. Like, this movie came out and it happened, and it wasn't like the end of the fucking world. 50 Shades of Grey comes out with this vanilla ass shit. And like you have like women like 55-year-old women like masturbating in movie theaters getting arrested. Like
it's and 50 Shades of Grey is basically
just wrong with you people,
just a bad version of The Secretary.
Right?
Oh,
okay. Wow, yeah. There's been steamier stuff than this before.
Well, that's what I say. Righteous
really
Gemstones, a comedy on HBO. I mean, they're showing. I mean, that I've seen more male genitalia in that show than any other freaking show in history.
Look at Richard Linklater's Suburbia the year after this. You have Giovanni Ribisi doing full frontal fucking male nudity, This was as much as people shit on it, this movie kind of probably opened some doors. What's up?
What movie is this now?
Oh, Suburbia. You never fucking saw Suburbia?
It's been it's been on my list of to watches. I just can never find it for like.
There's two good. There's an 80s movie called Suburbia that's like a punk rock movie, and then there's like a 90s version which is a little bit more, like I don't want to say alternative, but it's a little bit closer to that era. It's a little bit post-alternative, I would say.
Talking about it,
the 90s one's fucking great. Oh man, it's so
Linklater.
good. Linklater did Days Confused. Nikki Cott, Steve Zahn, Parker Posey.
So I think your Cobra
anything with Parker Posey, like I
get her in Showgirls 3. I don't care how, but she's there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Your approach of the whole Cobra Kai-ish, the battling. I mean, honestly, that would be a show I think would work.
I think it would totally work. And again, like the ultimate thing is the seduction and like this weird kind of like love-hate relationship. Like you see it with a lot of great heroes and villains. Bennett in Matrix and Commando. He hates him. He wants to kill him, but he really loves him. And I think they both have that with each other. They both hate, love, and want to kill each other. Crystal and Nomi, and they are kind of like two sides of the same coin, or reflections of each other.
And I feel like in a sequel they end up together.
Well, I feel like in season 2, they team up to go to take down Kyle MacLachlan, who's like the ultimate pimp of Vegas at this point. And they've, you know, because again, you have a little bit of night shift to it. They've been on the other side of this business.
Yeah.
They've worked in places like the Cheetah, and they've been fucking shit on and stuff. So they're gonna like, you know, make sure the girls, you know, are safe and respected and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And there's a morality to what they do. I think they will. Fuck yeah. They're tough as shit. Look, I mean, you telling me
I don't know.
Nomi's not gonna kick the shit out of some guy who gets handsy?
Nomi would, but I don't think Crystal would.
Crystal would have her fucking security. Crystal would smile and have her fucking security team do it. That's how Crystal rolls. She doesn't get her hands dirty, but she's just as fucking tough. She's just as sharp, you know.
Somebody else do it.
Like Crystal recommended Nomi to go on the boat convention, to go to the boat convention.
Well, she set her up.
That whole like we sing, you know, with the creepy Asian guy. That's a fucking great scene. Oh my God, that's such a great, the whole build up to that. And again, that's a reflection of later, like when he's asking her, how much did you charge? Oh, 50, sometimes 100. Oh, you got low self-esteem, baby. You're a terrific fuck. And again, just this movie's poetry. This movie's a fucking opera. It's just a masterpiece.
No, this movie is a haiku that got thrown in the trash. That's what this movie is, sir.
My only hesitancy.
Cinematic masterpiece.
Agreed. My only hesitancy to sequelize this.
It's in MGM's classic movies.
In the MGM classic vault.
It never has that. This is true.
Never has the roar of that lion meant so.
Hello?
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Chris?
You know. There he is.
There he is.
Great.
Chris paused, like most people pause Showgirls at scene 143.
I was like, what? Well, what I was trying to say was my only hesitancy with sequelizing this movie is you're playing with perfection. It's going to be hard to top the greatness or even touch anywhere near close to the greatness of the original. But I think with this kind of Netflix series style approach, you could bring back Showgirls and make it last for a very long time. And really, is there anything else? Is there anything else that this fucking world needs more than that? I don't know. If there is, I don't know what it is.
I always feel like you could do a Showgirls show and it would be almost like Red Shoe Diaries or something like that.
I'm there for that too. I'm there for this movie to exist in like all forms of the multiverse. Like, give me every version of Showgirls. Give me the $500 million Marvel version.
You need a superhero version of Nomi. Like what? Like what? What? Why?
Super thrust. She thrusts people to death. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. She fucking straddles dudes with her legs and then takes them underwater while they suffocate.
Wait, we forgot to say, what's your favorite scene from this movie?
Oh, it's true. Good God. I think it's Doggy Chow.
The end credits.
Oh my God.
Two things.
I'm being put on the spot.
What you think? Two things. One, Robert Davi turning around and saying, must be weird not having anyone come on you. That's a favorite moment.
Yeah.
And then just Gina Gershon, every scene with Gina and Elizabeth Berkley, their seduction, the doggy chow, you know, the confession that they both used to eat doggy chow, you know.
My favorite scene would still always be that I mean, and it's because of the song. It would be the choreography kind of scene, as well as the lap dance scene.
Lap dance scene is great. Yeah, that is.
One part I really like is the other rivalry that we don't get to see between Annie and Julie.
Oh yeah, totally.
She was just like,
get these fucking kids out of here.
Take my makeup and I'll fucking kill you. She's like, I'm the slut. You fuck that kid from the pizza place. Well, you fucking her.
So good. Yes.
That's right. That's like, no, that is Showgirls 3. They're like, we are still there. A prequel. We see what started between them.
I'm game.
They remind me of the grumpy old men in the Muppets in the balcony.
But I love it. Right before she like throws the jewels down and she looks at her, she's like, what are you looking at, bitch?
Yes, I'm down for all these. We've just sequelized this movie to death and the world can thank us for it later, or send checks payable to VCR Redux at Fandom Spotlite. We are almost out of time, guys.
Let those checks bounce, sir.
We are almost out of time, guys.
Thank God. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Ian will be relieved to know that it is time to wrap up this lap dance and pay your dancer.
Take care of your bartenders too.
Don't forget to respect the ladies and pay the bartenders. Drive home safe or get an Uber.
Stupid movie. God.
Is there anything coming up in the world that you guys want to let the folks at home know about? Mickey, Bobby, Ian? I see
Nothing
a
for
couple
me.
head shaking.
Yeah.
Well, all right. In that case, you Fandom fans might
We're
want to
just a
come back.
bunch of losers that watch Showgirls. That's who we are, folks.
Well, folks,
There's a lot of us. There's a lot of
Watching
us.
Showgirls on my vacation.
yeah, if you're in the California area and want to hit up Bobby, be sure to do it and encourage him to start filming on I'm Still Fabulous because the world is waiting, as are we. Anyway, you Fandom fans might want to come back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when we celebrate another mid-90s femme fatale for our Species episode.
Now,
As always,
that one is good. That's a good one. That's one we can celebrate.
Really?
What?
All right.
What?
Showgirls is
world am I
trash, but
in?
Species is fine filmmaking.
It's a
I love
fucking
them both,
alien.
but for very different reasons.
It's a great
and on
movie.
Very different
It's
levels.
a great movie, but it ain't Showgirls.
Thank you.
Now,
Respect.
Species. That's a pool scene. That's a good one.
Just because it's got Forrest Whitaker, Ian loves it, and you know what? I love it for Michael Madsen. Anyway, as always, if there's a particular movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode, let us know in the comment section below. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom Spotlight, the Hollow 9 Network, and Pop Culture Punk. And if you want to smash the like button on this video, that'd be pretty cool too. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.
Stupid.